Happy Friday, Nashville. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelley with you on this Friday. And we are joined live in studio by Max Herz from Preds Radio. We are broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Excited to have Max back on after I was out last week. So lots to get to on the program today. Max, how's it going? Thanks for coming in.
Hi, Jake. I'm just doing a little bit of studio maintenance.
Yes,
here.
you were doing you just getting the essentials up here in the studio. We got, of course, Pete and Terry inducted into the Golden Hall, so that has to be represented in our studio. Where else would it go?
Yeah, I got to get more of these posters actually, because I took what I thought was a big stack and I've already given all of them out of Pete and Terry posters. So I think there are some more back at the arena, so I'll get them. And I'll see, like, you just got to turn the light on in here, just because it's radio. Robbie and Joe just do their show in a cave.
See, but they get here early enough that I understand it. You don't want the bright lights in your face at 6 a.m.
No, I do. Otherwise, I'm going to fall asleep on the air.
They're used to it at this point, though. They are.
Joe is a caveman, literally and figuratively, and I love him for it.
Preds have lost 3 games in a row here, all at home, and 2 of them in overtime. We're able to get points earlier in the week, but last night a 3-1 loss to the Flyers. Max, you've been over there. What's been the issues for the Preds through these last 3 games? A couple of heartbreakers on Monday and Tuesday, especially that Tuesday game with Steven Stamkos tying it in the final seconds just to lose on what we'll call it a controversial call in overtime that allowed the Wild to score the game-winning goal.
They're playing well enough to win, and after the game yesterday, Michael McCarron put it as well as I possibly could, so I'm going to use his words. They don't have the killer instinct, a.k.a. they're not scoring when they have extended zone time, extended chances. They're getting looks, and I think this week they've gotten more grade A scoring chances than they have all year, and they just aren't finishing enough to win.
You told me before we came in here that you were the one who went up to Justus Onanen and asked him his perspective on the call from Wednesday night's game against the Wild. And excuse me, that was Tuesday night's game. Excuse me, that was in St. Paul as well, not at home.
I also have no idea what day of the week it is. The fact that I'm on with you means it's Friday, right? So that centers me.
That's what allows me to know what day it is who is sitting next to me in studio. I was like, all right, yesterday TD was in, it's Thursday. Today Max is here, it's Friday.
Glad I can help.
But yes, especially with the travel, I have no idea what day it is. Tuesday night's game against the Wild, Justus Onanen pushes off the post a little bit. The goal moves, puck comes across, gets deflected into the side of the net. Didn't look like it was going to cross the line inside the post, but the officials ruled that it was a good goal, ended up being the game winner. You talked to Onanen about his perspective on what happened on that play and what he believes should have been the right call in that situation.
Yeah, I think the neutral NHL world is on the Preds side here, from what I've surmised. And obviously, to me, Onanen is the protagonist in this. And
right,
I want to know what he thinks. And the goalie doesn't, unless somebody asks for the goalie doesn't usually speak to media after the game. And they were on the road, so Preds had 0 media members there, other than Brooks, who works with the team. But yeah, Onanen hadn't spoken, and he was the backup goalie yesterday, so he was laid off a morning skate. But I waited as long as I could. They were nice enough to let me speak to him, so thank you for that. But he was impassioned about it, obviously. I don't know if he made it back to Nashville with as many sticks as he took to Minnesota after the way that game ended. And he was still hot about it. And the points he made were multifold. And the first thing was he considered that to be a normal push off of the post for him.
Right.
And more importantly than that, he said he made the right read on the play, knew the backdoor pass was coming, and was confident that he would have made the save. Well, first of all, he may not have had to make the save because Marcus Johansson missed the net. And the Predators' big argument on this that they were telling the refs was he scored on the second shot. He only got a second shot because the goal had rotated 45 degrees and the puck came right back to him. If you miss a shot off the side of the net, it's not coming right back to you.
Right.
Unless the net is completely off one of the moorings.
I didn't understand it at all, watching that replay over and over. And then I did see on social media, there was a cut up of other calls like this of the goal gets knocked off the moorings and the puck crosses over the line in between the posts. And you can see pretty clearly on those plays, yeah, the puck would have scored, but somebody on defense, whether it's the goalie or a defenseman, knocked the goal off, and it made sense. That play on Tuesday night was not the same. I mean, it bounced off the side of the net, and you're right. It's like once the goal is off, it should be the immediate scoring chance after that you have to score on. If it bounces off the side of the net, that's no longer the immediate scoring chance. They should blow the whistle and call the play dead.
Yeah. So referee Trevor Hansen was the one who made the call. It was an immediate, emphatic goal call behind the net. And the sentiment of some of the Preds is that they didn't even get a ruling from Toronto because they never announced a review. They didn't use the microphone at any point in this. And they basically said, this is a judgment call. The ref who was there made the call. And apparently there may not even have been a review. So they get absolutely zero information from the league. Onanen got zero word from the refs. Apparently Steven Stamkos got a little bit as speaking as the captain, by the guy wearing the letter, since Roman Josi wasn't there and he was the one talking to the ref.
Right.
Onanen said they gave him absolutely nothing. Onanen was in the ref's face trying to have a conversation, probably a hot conversation, but you got to talk to these guys.
Right.
And the officiating has been absolutely awful. And when it's at its worst is two things that I think make the officiating bad happen on this play. One, judgment calls, which happens a lot on icing or no icing, and face-off violations,
right,
which I think this year have been the two most inconsistently officiated things in the Predators games. And two, when ego comes into it. These guys are human.
Yeah.
There are things that have happened in the past with different referees and different coaches and different players. And look, when the call comes that emphatically, he doesn't want to change the call. That's an ego thing.
Right.
Imagine if that game continues. What does it look like for that ref?
Right.
You know? So it's and teams that aren't playing well don't get calls either. It's part of it.
It's just one of those things where on that ruling, there has to be more that goes into that. You have to get a full review. You have to get somebody else's opinion on it. And
yeah,
it's tough for the Preds, who have had a lot of games like this year where it's like you're really close. And that was a game where maybe you feel like you stole a point with Stamkos scoring with 0.3 seconds left on the clock, but you had a chance to get two. And later on in the year, that could be one of those games where you look back and say, man, if we had just gotten a point there, the Montreal game a few weeks ago, where you give up a goal late in the third period, then give up a goal late in overtime as well. There's just been a couple of games for the Preds this year where one thing doesn't go their way and it ends up costing them either 1 point or possibly two.
Well, they've played 16 games. 4 of them have been overtime losses.
Crazy.
I think all 4 of those are in that category.
Yeah.
So a couple more things that Onanen said to me that I want to make sure I say, since I have not said these things on the radio yet. First of all, the way he and I talked about the review, it actually reminded me of something UC Saros said to me either last year or 2 years ago. He says Saros said this, he loves watching the NHL on TNT, as we all do, because they do a very good job televising the games, unlike some other channels, because he loves Henrik Lundqvist being on, because there's no voice of the goalie on hockey TV. And it's like,
good point.
Imagine if you were watching a World Series game with no pitcher. Like it's even more extreme of that. And talking to Onanen, it's like, do you think there's an ex-goalie in the Situation Room in Toronto? Probably not. It's all ex-referees and just kind of these other guys who are there who watch replays, who are hockey guys. Most of them probably played. Did any of them play goalie? We have no idea. Definitely no former NHL goalies. And the point Onanen made was, first of all, it was already a little bit off. The post was already a little bit off.
Yeah.
But it had been a problem all game. The snow maintenance there was not up to his standard. And another thing that impacted this play, for overtime, you switch ends. That's the only time the goalies will switch ends without the Zamboni coming through.
Right.
Because you go to the long change second period end. So that had been Gustafsson's goal for the entire third period. Onanen said Gustafsson likes to keep his crease very snowy, which I think is not the norm. I think guys want their crease clear.
Yeah.
And that impacted the whole deal because that rattles the post. If they didn't come out there with the turkey baster to squirt in the net hole, that impacts it. And the Preds also had the puck the final 5 minutes of the game. There were 11 skaters and a goalie down there.
Yeah.
There was a lot of snow going on. So, like, it was all conditions of the game that had an impact on it. I think if Ananen had said something going into overtime, you can call the ice crew going out and
Yeah.
have them come back. But I don't, he didn't say anything about if he had noticed anything in advance, but the post was clearly a little bit off already. And the one other thing he brought up that was very interesting to me, probably the goal of the week in the NHL, was also on that night in the Oilers Stars game in Dallas. Leon Draisaitl hit a one-timer right on the goal line on the power play. Crazy angle. Went short side shelf. Casey DeSmith, Stars backup, just did not have a prayer. Beautiful goal. Perfect shot. Great player. Ananen said, bringing that goal up unprovoked, if that goal is going to happen regularly in the NHL, every single NHL goalie needs to be able to know that in every arena, they can put their full body weight into the post when they lean on the post to make a save. Otherwise, no one's ever going to stop that shot. Or, like, if that's the shot and the same thing happens to Ananen, obviously different play, but if he leans into the post and knocks the goal off on that shot, is that an awarded goal?
Right.
Because it was going in. It wasn't a backdoor tap in to win an overtime game. It was a tough angle shot for a power play goal in regulation, but it was much more of the initial shot was going in. Johansson's shot wasn't going in.
Yeah.
So is that an awarded goal if Casey DeSmith leans on his post and knocks the goal off there?
Well, and that's my question is, where is the line? Like, how many chances do you
There's
have?
no line.
To,
There's absolutely no line.
Like, once the goal comes off, can you just sit there and keep poking it across the line until they finally award you a goal?
Ananen also stopped playing when the net came off.
There has to be some sort of delineation of,
because his save path changed.
Right.
He's not going to flop in front because he shouldn't have had to flop in front. So
it was it's a call that I don't think anyone agrees with except for those in the land of 10,000 lakes up there. Like, it makes absolutely no sense, and it's one we may be talking about for a while. Ends up being an overtime loss for the Preds. Again, we're able to steal the point with Steven Stamkos scoring with less than a second on the clock, but it doesn't make you feel much better when you felt like you could have gotten 2 points if they had not allowed that goal.
Well, the other thing is, it was their second overtime game in as many nights, and it was very clear the Preds were playing for a shootout.
Right.
And then this happens.
Yeah.
You cannot win. They've had so many things go against them that are really out of their control or just oddities. And it sucks because it hurts morale on a team where they are doing things better the last couple of weeks. And it's baby steps, and it hasn't led to a ton of wins, but like, they are playing better. So, it's steps forward and then steps back that you have no control over, which I'm sure is maddening for them.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. If you have any Preds questions for Max, get those in. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You can text or call. We have plenty to get to with Max. He's with us for the full first hour of the show. We'll talk about the changes to the power play groups. Ryan O'Reilly had some interesting comments after the game yesterday. Also, we'll look at the injury front with Roman Josi and Cole Smith out for an extended period of time. Jake Lyman, Max Herz, Parker Kelley off and running on this Friday here on Next Man Up, 102.5 The Game. Oh, wow. Going Justin Bieber to start things off here, Parker. Next man up, 1025 The Game, Jake Lyman, joined by Max Herz from Preds Radio in studio for the full first hour. Talking Preds. If you have questions for Max, you can text or call our phone lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Max, want to talk about Ryan O'Reilly's comments after last night's game. Clearly not happy with himself. The example of being his own biggest critic. Said he's only had one good year in the league. He can't score. Clearly was not happy with his performance.
I believe his exact words are, "I'm pathetic. I am the first line center, and I cannot even make a 6-foot pass. I've only had one good year in my career."
I saw that. I think I saw Robbie tweeted that out last night, and I was just laughing to myself watching that. I mean, these guys have really high standards for themselves. Ryan O'Reilly has obviously been a very good player during his NHL career, but that's the type of guy who, when he does have a bad game or a bad stretch, he's going to be honest about it and try and get better. They do need more from him on that top line.
Ryan O'Reilly is not the problem with the
No,
Preds.
he is not. No.
I just feel like I need to say that. He is always going to absorb blame and deflect praise, and he's done that since the moment he got here. He's done that his entire career. And it's interesting to think about his career, because he's been at the top, and then he has been on some really bad teams. He was on the Sabres for 4 years. Last year was really tough. He takes all of this very, very, very personally. But if I were to make a list of the Nashville Predators skaters and who was most and least responsible for the struggles of last season and the first part of this season, Ryan O'Reilly would be last on that list. Without a doubt.
I would agree with that. I think I think Ryan O'Reilly, if you're looking for somebody who has been a large part of the problem over the last 2 years, he would definitely be lower on that list, like you said. So, great to have high standards for yourself, and clearly he was not happy with the way he's played lately.
I need to go back and figure out. Actually, you know what? I just remembered it on the air. I know what pass he's talking about with the "I can't make a 6-foot pass." And I obviously don't know the system design of whose fault this was in the play. I actually thought it was the recipient's fault, which was Evangelista in this instance. It was a 2-on-1 that kind of came out of nowhere down low, and O'Reilly thought Evangelista would pop lower, and he stayed flat a little bit higher. And I think it probably would have been a goal either way if Evangelista had gotten the puck and shot, which Evangelista has passed up some really good shots in the last couple of weeks. So I think everybody needs to shoot more. But that was the pass. I was about to say, I wish I knew what the pass was, and then
it popped into your head.
Yeah.
The Predators trying to make some changes on the power play units to make that a more effective group. A very slow start to the season for the man advantage. What have you seen from that group as they've tried to split up those groups and at least try and find some more production there?
Yeah, long overdue, first of all, to split up the big four forwards. It's not working. It didn't work last year. It's not working this year. And they basically went with the even strength lines, gave both lines a fourth forward for a special skill, and then gave them a quarterback defenseman. So the O'Reilly line, which is should say the Forsberg line, from a power play perspective, it's Phil. Forsberg, O'Reilly, Evangelista. They get Eric Halla, who's a center, and then Brady Shea. And then the Stamkos line, Stamkos, Marchessault, and, well, even strength, they've had Halla, so it's not really their line. But it's Stamkos, Marchessault, Matt Wood, who's been great, and then Michael Bunting, who's their net front guy, is his special skill, and then Nick Blankenburg, who I think is the best power play quarterback on the team, and we continue to see that the last couple of weeks as he gets back in there. I think it's been a little bit better. Rhythm and flow is what Andrew Brunette has said that he's seen more from it, and I agree with that. There are just still times where they cannot get into the zone at all. I think it does create some internal competition because you don't know which unit's going first. It does have to do sometimes with who drew the penalty and who's fresh, but a lot of it is competition. Who's going? You got to earn your power play time. And there was an entire power play yesterday when Forsberg's unit started it, And Jonathan Marchessault is standing near the bench the entire time. And you can tell he's not happy. Well, if you'd like to play on the power play, please shoot and score. Like that's to me is the upside of this.
Yeah.
Is you are forcing your guys to earn their cookies.
Right. You don't have a top unit. You don't have a second unit. It's just whichever unit you feel has the best chance to go out and play.
Yeah, and if they're bad, put McCarron and Weisblatt out there. Like if nobody's going, make McCarron your net front guy. You know he's going to win a faceoff. You know Weisblatt is going to hound pucks, and he's got a shot too. So there are options. But Andrew Brunette has been loyal to his top guys because you're not going to win in the NHL without your top guys scoring. But it's frustrating that this even had to happen. So yeah, that's the thinking.
You mentioned Matt Wood. He's gotten off to a strong start since he was returned from injury. What have you seen from him as he's emerged as a threat for this team in his rookie season?
He's been amazing, and it's early. It's so early. He turns 21 the day the Olympic break starts.
Crazy.
And that's still 3 months away. But I think there's a chance that he never plays anywhere other than the NHL the rest of his career. Obviously, it's a long way to go. He's 20 years old. But Matt Wood looks so comfortable in the NHL, and he is far from perfect, obviously. He's a prospect. But his ceiling, every time we see him go out there, gets a little bit higher. And it's been great to see. I mean, this looks like a huge win in the draft process for the Preds.
Yeah.
And they haven't even had too much hands-on development with him. It's just been a player who is self-developed. He's the son of a coach. His dad was a Division I women's college hockey coach for a long time and runs a private coaching clinic now in Vancouver. And Wood's hockey IQ has led him to a lot of success in the now, how many games he played? 10? 9 so far this year. He had his first 3 NHL goals in a 4-game, 6-day span. And every goal brought something different. So I've been really, really impressed with Wood. The play that really stood out to me was the goal Tuesday night in Minnesota. He'd been out there for a power play. He'd been on the ice for a minute and a half, and he was tired, and he was going off. And he thought to look back at the puck. He was leaving the offensive zone, going to the bench, which was close by in the second period, so it was a short change. But he knew what was going on with the play. He saw that Tyson Jost kept the puck in at the blue line on a play where I didn't think the Preds were going to be able to keep it alive in the zone. And Wood made sure to look for it. And the moment that happened, he stopped and just stood on the doorstep. Jost got the puck to McCarron, and because Wood didn't bail, it was a 2-on-0. And McCarron made an amazing play to get him the puck, tap in for Wood, he nailed it. So it's hockey IQ combined with his physical skill.
Yeah.
That is leading him to his early success.
Yeah, and you could see it from his first game of the year. He came in and immediately made an impact. He has been great in his first 9 games of the season. Let's go to our phone lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Trey is on the line wanting to chime in. Trey, thanks for calling. What you got for us this morning?
Good morning, guys. Good morning, Max.
Hello.
Hey, I wanted to say that you remember when the GM that retired from the Predators, what's his name, Mr. Polian?
David Poile, not Bill Polian.
David Poile. Well, you remember he got inducted into the USA Hockey Hall of Fame in Nashville?
Oh, yeah.
I Ubered him home to Belle Meade the next morning, bro.
Wow.
And it was the most exciting thing probably in my life. And he's the sweetest old man that you would ever want to meet. And the Predators, if the Predators need to get it right, especially for him, because he put a lot into the Predators, and he's a sweet old man. And I just wanted to say that's my Predators moment. And Max, you do a good job, buddy.
Thank you, Trey. Did David give you 5 stars?
He gave me 5 stars, and he also, my GPS was trying to tell me where to go, but he was telling me where to go. And I was like, yeah, he's definitely the GM of the Predators, because he has that, he has that charisma. And another thing, they make deals on the telephone, dude. Everything is done by telephone. All the GMs love each other. It's a club, and they talk to each other and all of that. So that's all I want to say. But y'all have a good day. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, Trey.
5 stars, Trey.
That's a great story. Uber David Poyle home after he was inducted into the Hall of
Do
Fame.
we think David was out all night if he drove him back in the morning?
Yeah, he was.
David is probably listening right now, actually, if he's here. He's been in Nashville a lot this season.
That's so funny. Trey, a consistent caller into the program.
Hey, so much for come be a professional athlete in Nashville. Nobody will ever talk to you in public or talk about what you're doing.
That's true.
David Poyle, you were on notice.
Yeah, that is true.
Retired GMs are being outed.
I know. Trey is just putting him on blast for staying up all night after being inducted into the Hall of Fame. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. If you have questions for Max or other stories about current or former Predators, in getting into your car, we'll take all of them. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We'll get to some of your questions on the text line coming up. Also talk about some of the injuries that have hit the Predators over the last couple of weeks. Jake Lyman, Max Herz, Parker Kelley, next man up, 1025 The Game.
Thank you.
Next man up,
This was just
1025
for
the
you,
game.
Max.
Jake Lyman, Max Herz, Parker Kelley. Yeah, Max specifically requested some older Nick Disney songs on these Friday shows. So there you go.
This is so good. Drake and Josh.
That's what
A great program.
me and Connor Newt were called that by somebody on the text line. Nevada Josh said that a couple of months ago.
Are
So-
you Josh?
I guess I would be Drake because it rhymes with Jake. That's like, and
Oh.
so that makes Connor Josh.
I mean,
just
like-
by default.
I guess. I mean, you're the lead dog, so you're Drake. I guess Connor's the funny one then. I
Yeah,
don't know. Josh
sure.
Josh Peck has really slimmed down.
he
by the way.
has. He has. Looks like an almost completely
But
different person.
that show had two like iconic, like never dying lines, like Borat level, never
Yeah.
dying. The hug me,
Hug me,
brother,
brother,
is
yeah.
number one. And then you calling me a liar? I ain't calling you a truther.
Yeah, no,
I
there's
still use that one.
there are they're kid shows. They're meant for like your tweens, but they do hold up still.
Well, that was
today.
a great show too, because it was like the whole show was about like divorce and like family
Right,
situations, like two
right.
divorced families or blended families that became one. So, yeah, it was very progressive. So,
yes,
great
yes.
program.
Always good to go back and watch some Drake and Josh. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll take your questions on the Preds for Max, who's with us for a little under half an hour here to wrap up his time on the show. Let's talk injuries, Max. Obviously, the biggest one, Roman Josi, is out for a little while. Was just placed on injured reserve. It's been tough for him the last couple of years. The injuries, the POTS diagnosis, but the report is that this doesn't have anything to do with his POTS diagnosis, this injury, and you hope to eventually get him back soon. But how do the Predators, tread water and continue to go along without their captain on the ice?
yeah. So the team told us that it's not POTS or
Right.
concussion related, and I can confirm that. Not that the team needs confirmation, but it's probably still going to be a couple weeks. Barry Trotz said in his interview here on Tuesday, and Josi was spotted by Canadian TV cameras skating before the game against the Flames on
That's good.
Saturday, and that was on Hockey Night in Canada. So it's good that he's moving. He may be skating without the team frequently. We aren't usually in the arena when those sessions happen, just because they're not. First of all, there has been no practice time with how much the Preds
Right,
have been
they're playing
but,
every day.
it's not usually in line with practice time. It's sometimes at a different venue, at Centennial, or at different times of the day. So, they really, really miss him, and I still think Josi and Haig has potential to be the top pair, especially because by the time Josi gets back, I think Haig will really be hitting his stride. He's been solid. He's done the little things well that you can show up and do with his size, with boxing out and being physical and being a policeman out there on the ice and protecting guys, which has been really, really valuable. And I was thinking about this last night because after the post-game show, I was driving home. I was listening to the Golden Knights game, and Jeremy Lauzon took a dumb penalty. And I love Jeremy, but he took some dumb penalties. Nick Haig has taken, I think, one penalty that I can think of, and it was a call that he thought was pretty soft. That was earlier this week. That was against the Canucks on Monday. And the big thing he does that Lauzon did not was he's a peacemaker, and he stops the BS from the other team. He gets right in there, and it's over.
It's a big man.
Lauzon was a great fighter, and he laid huge hits, but he wasn't an enforcer in that way per se. So I think Haig and Josi will be great together because Haig really stays home, which is good. And Nick Perbix has shown this to us this year. Not every defenseman needs to join the rush in the NHL. They all kind of want to. They don't all have to.
Yeah.
Especially when your partner is Roman Josi. It actually should never be you joining the rush unless you have a breakaway.
Yeah.
I know that's not really how the modern systems work, but that's how I feel.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you're going to cede way to somebody, it should be Roman Josi and let him join the break instead of you. Cole Smith also out 3 to 6 weeks with an upper body injury. On that fourth line, had gotten off to a strong start, but going to be missing him for about a month here.
The way I think about Smith's injury is every single aspect of play that the Predators have been good at this season, Cole Smith is a part of.
Yeah.
All the things that they've struggled with, Cole Smith is not a part of. So Cole Smith is a valuable player. And we've seen that because the penalty kill has been worse without him.
It's a good point. And hopefully both those guys are back within the near future, but looks like it's going to be at least a few more weeks for both of them.
One other interesting thing I wanted to bring up that is a response to the Cole Smith injury is they have been using Nick Blankenberg on the penalty kill as a forward.
Yeah.
So they've been killing with 3D and 1 forward. And they have other guys who can kill. Kimmel was killing. LaRue would kill, I think, if he were playing. He's been a healthy scratch since he got called up.
Yeah.
But Blankenberg as a PK forward does work there. But it's interesting. And it's coaching going on. So I always like it's tough in hockey sometimes to see where and how the coaching happens. So when a decision is made that works out and is outside of the box, I always like to make sure that gets highlighted with ice time and roster decisions.
Right. Interesting move there on the penalty kill from the Preds. Want to get to our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Joey from Bellevue. I completely forgot to write this down, but I'm glad he texted in. Max, what has the vibe been in the locker room with the SNL skit that happened this past week? Have you seen the guys get a nice chuckle out of the Miles Teller SNL skit about the Predators?
I'm sure they all watched it. I have not heard anybody say anything about it, but the Tennessean wrote an article about it this week, and the Preds have taken it in good humor, as you would expect them to, in the same way that when they sent the season ticket holder email out 10, 15 years ago, whenever it was, that said Preds instead of Preds. And then they sent out an email where every time the team was mentioned, it was Preds instead of Preds. So if you haven't noticed, we have a sense of humor about ourselves here in Smashville. And Sean Henry said that they did send a box of Preds in the Community t-shirts to 30 Rock.
That's great.
And I was like, to Liz Lemon and Jack Donaghy. And I was like, oh wait, this is an actual place. But yeah, hopefully they'll be wearing them. I did my SNL claim to fame is I did do a group project with the youngest of Lorne Michaels' many children at Vanderbilt. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. I obviously didn't stay up for SNL on Saturday night. I believe that started at 6 a.m. Paris time. But I did see it.
You could have made it in the morning.
I could have maybe woken up and had it with watched it with my breakfast. But I did see that, and it was funny. I was talking to somebody on the Vandy staff. They hadn't seen the Preds in the Community t-shirts and the whole jokes about that. And we had been talking about it 2 days before, and then they do the Miles Teller skit. So thought it was funny, and I'm glad the Preds. I mean, you got to take it in good fun.
I just have obviously, but you got to take it. I agree with you, but like Miles Teller could walk up to me and say, "Hi, my name is Miles." I'd be like, "Okay, you're a person. I don't know who you are." I'm
seen
so
some of his
bad
movies?
with actors.
Yeah.
Nope. I'm maybe.
I'm sure you have. Yeah.
Is he Spider-Man?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, that's Tom Holland. What is Miles Teller in? He was in Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, well, I got in trouble for that for Celebrity Birthdays for not knowing the main guy from that.
Oh, well, I guess he would be the main guy alongside Tom Cruise.
There was someone else.
Maybe it was Miles Teller. Glenn Powell.
Glenn
Powell. Yeah.
I guess that he was 63 and he was 37 or 38.
Yes. Yeah. He's Chad Powers in the new show.
I'm going to pass on Chad Powers.
It's not as bad.
A show?
Yeah,
I thought it was a movie.
No,
okay.
That's it's the Eli Manning movie or TV show on Hulu. It's not as bad as you would expect it to be. It's not good, but it's not as bad as you'd expect.
Why would I watch something that you're telling me is not good?
It's like entertaining, but it's not like it's going to win any Emmys.
I don't need Emmys. I don't know. My tastes are, I watch a lot of sports, and I like comedies, and
yeah, I think you'd enjoy it.
No, I actually don't think so. You just told me it was bad, so.
I watched the first episode the other night. It was not what I was expecting.
It's, if you go into it knowing what it's going to be a kind of corny TV show about a guy pretending to be Chad Powers and go play quarterback.
But that for me is what I watch Letterkenny and Shoresy for.
There you
hockey.
go. I guess that's true.
But those shows are like, I don't know. I guess they're just as stupid, but.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen those, but I've heard that those are funny too. So.
Yeah. Well, and to show how little I know about actors, like I've watched all of those shows, and I met two of the guys at one of the games last year. I literally just said to them, I feel bad that I don't know your names. My name's Max. Like, I'm one of the Preds announcers. And one of them used to play for the Preds.
Oh,
Jonathan Diaby.
wow.
Who's the guy who only speaks French. He was a Preds draft pick. He was in the same draft class as UC Saros and Colton Sissons and played in Milwaukee with them and never played in the NHL. But they use his real name in the show.
Wow.
But he goes by Dolo. They only call him Dolo, which is his rap name. But everything about the character, the name, the backstory are all the real guy.
Oh, okay.
Which they like don't make clear.
That's so funny.
That he's a real person.
That he's just a real person playing himself.
But he only speaks French in the show. It's just, yeah, it's so ridiculous.
I got to check that show out. I've heard very good things from people.
It's really stupid.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. We got one more segment with Max. We're going to get ready for the Preds trip to Sweden coming up next. Jake Lyman, Max Herz, Parker Kelley, next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Max Herz, Parker Kelley. Last segment with Max talking Preds. We have gotten a lot of texts. Dylan says he loves the Drake and Josh comeback there, so well done, Parker.
Nice.
He said make that our return every single time.
Every single time.
I don't know
might
if
get a
we
little
can do that, but
monotonous.
maybe once a week we can get it through. And then lots of Letterkenny fans on the text line as well.
Yes.
So I might have to check it out.
Everyone text in your favorite Letterkenny or Shoresy quote.
6802 says pitter patter. That's
patter. Let's get at her.
Dustin from Hopkinsville says Letterkenny, best show ever. Nick's slang is so funny. My grandfather is from Canada, makes me feel closer to him. So
it's just crazy how accurate it is. Like, especially talking to Brady Martin, who is basically from Letterkenny. Like,
yeah,
it's so funny.
I think I have seen at least one episode of it, but I'll go back. I'll start
great.
watching it. Maybe next week I'll give you a review of my.
It's
impressions
also
of
like not the type of show where I could be like, this is the best episode to watch. Like, it just kind of goes. Yeah, I don't have a good answer. They're also doing, for fans of the show, they're doing a podcast. Michelle Milet, who is the female lead who plays why am I blanking on the name? Miss Katie's. It's her and one of the goth guys. Evan Stern is the actor's name, and Rold is the character's name. And people who haven't watched the show are like, what is happening here?
You know Evan Stern, but you don't know Glenn Powell.
I know what I know. But yeah, they're doing a podcast where they like go back through all the episodes and like tell funny behind the scenes stories from it. And I listened to like they do one for every episode, which is insane.
That is crazy.
But I listened to a couple of them and they're really good. So go, yeah, if you're a fan, I very much enjoyed it.
All right, I'll have to check it out. Let's go to our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Dustin from Hopkinsville said he was going to call in later. Later is now. Dustin, thanks for calling. What you got?
What's up, guys? Happy Friday. Hey, yeah, Letterkenny is awesome. Not to get into too much detail because we're on public radio here, but the best scene for me was when they're tossing the baseball around and what the guy says, they stop tossing the ball to him. So y'all look that one up. He knows exactly what I'm talking about.
There's just no way to like explain any of the funny scenes in it in a clean way.
No. Yeah, just in places men shouldn't be touched. You get the theory. Anyway, hey, so I met Mike Fisher one time. Trey was talking about people he met in Hopkinsville at Arabacero. It's a Mexican restaurant. There's a chain of them from Central City, Kentucky to Clarksville, Tennessee. But this was my wife and my first date. And let's just say it's a wonder we're still together because she was chopped liver. We walk in and we go to sit at a booth. And I sat directly behind Mike Fisher. I seen him. I was like, that dude looks familiar. He just looks like a dude. He's big, and he just looks like that naturally huge, built dude. And he's got this black and white hat on, and I noticed it said catching deer. And I'm sitting there, and I got my back to Mike, and I'm making sure it's him. I was like, oh, my gosh, this dude's got a Canadian accent. Oh, my gosh, that's Mike. And my wife keeps talking to me. I'm like, well, dating her at the time. I'm like, forget what you got to say. Do you hear this Canadian accent? This is Mike right here. All right. He gets up and I'm like, Mike. And he looks over and like, what's up, man? I was like, dude. I was like, I don't want to bust you out in here, but can I get a picture of you? He said, no, let's do it right here. All right. Fast forward. Now my buddy works for him on his farm in Crofton, Kentucky. And let's just say that him and Carrie don't have the same views on killing deers. But it's kind of crazy. Another big thing, my grandfather played hockey with Tim Horton at St. Mike's in Canada. He's Canadian. He's 96 now. Dude was skating like freaking 35-year-olds at 72 years old. But that's pretty cool. So he got injured. He was being looked at by the Toronto Maple Leafs, but he got an injury, and that didn't work out. But, yeah, I just wanted to share my story, man. I can't believe me and my wife are still together because I don't fangirl very often, but it's Mike Fisher. He's just a dude's dude, you know.
Thanks for the call, Dustin. I wonder if Carrie was there with Mike. But
no, because I wouldn't even have noticed Mike. Those legs. All right, I'll get off here before I say something wrong.
Appreciate you calling in, Dustin. Quickly before we have to let Max go, Preds are heading to Sweden next week. Obviously, a cool experience. Get out there and play 2 games against the Penguins, and a couple of games that could send the Preds in a good direction as they head overseas to Europe.
Yeah, and it's good team time together with how much they've been going at it too. So I think that the players are really looking forward to that. Tomorrow is the Global Series Sweden send-off game. It's the final home game before the Preds go to Sweden. So it is Philip Forsberg bobble mustache day, and we got to see them at the game last night.
That sounds amazing.
It is a normal bobblehead, but the mustache is also on a spring. So it takes a lot of maintenance to get the bobbling going right, but you should have to work hard for your bobblehead, I believe. And it has the Swedish flag as the base. So there'll be a lot going on. I believe there will be Swedish meatballs available.
Love it.
The Plaza Party will have Swedish flags all over it. They're already out there. I don't know how Pekka feels about his statue being draped in Swedish flags, but they are out there. So, yeah, it should be fun. Preds and Stars. Preds need a win. Stars are pretty good. So, should be a good game tomorrow afternoon. Then they go to New York. They will play the Rangers on Monday night at Madison Square Garden. And straight away from there, go to Stockholm. So the games are a week from today. Next Friday at 1 in the afternoon. That is 8 o'clock at night in Stockholm. And then next Sunday, 2 Sundays from now, at 8 a.m. Nashville time. That is 1 in the afternoon in Stockholm.
8 a.m. hockey.
Pre-game show at 7 a.m.
We love it.
And then the Titans are home right after. So I think I'm probably just going to go to what might be my only Titans game of the year.
There you go.
Lines up perfect.
It works out perfectly. And next Friday, instead of having Max on from 9 to 10, he's going to be with us from 11 to 12 to lead right into Predators pregame coverage. So excited for that. Max, always appreciate you coming in. Hope the Preds can get a couple of wins before heading across the Atlantic.
Yeah, thanks, Jake. Thanks for letting me rearrange everything in here and talk about whatever I want.
Max Herz, it's the best hour in radio from 9 to 10 on Friday.
You don't have to say that.
Appreciate Max coming in. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get into some football on the other side to start hour number 2. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelley, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Second hour, next man up, 1025 The Game. Jake Lyman and Parker Kelley broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Great talking with Max Herz from Preds Radio for the first hour, as we always do on Fridays. Again, next week, we will slide Max to the end of the show from 11 to 12 and lead right into pregame coverage as the Predators take on the Penguins in Stockholm, Sweden. Let's get into some football. I can say definitively the Titans are not going to lose this weekend. It is the bye week. We have made it. Titans are 1-8 through the first 9 weeks. They will be back in action at home against the Texans next Sunday. It was a busy week for this team, though. Made some trades. Draymond Jones sent to the Ravens was the latest move from Tennessee. And we heard from Mike Borgonzi on Wednesday morning talking about the decisions to make those trades, some of the trades he didn't make, and the outlook for this team moving forward. And it's brought me to one question for the fan base out there that I want to get everyone's thoughts on. 615-737-1025 is the phone number, so you can text or call. We had this conversation last year too, and it's going to be a conversation for the next 2 months. What are you rooting for the Titans for the rest of the season? Because there's plenty of fans out there, and I would consider myself one of them, who, when the ball is put in play, you're always rooting for your team to win. But losing may be better for the long-term outlook of this team. The number 1 overall pick is surely going to be a valuable one this year, with lots of teams needing quarterbacks. Lots of teams that do need quarterbacks have multiple first-round picks either this year or next year. So there's a lot of value to be had in a tank. But I want to know, what does the fan base want? Do you want to see this team lose out, go 1-16, and get your best chance at the number 1 overall pick? And I believe if they went 1-16, they'd be guaranteed the number 1 overall pick. Actually, no, the Jets still only have 1 win. So
yeah, and the Saints are ahead of the Titans,
right?
now,
But if you went
1-16,
that would mean the Saints beat you. So
yes,
that would move them past you. But the Jets are 1-7. They play the Browns this week, which could be an interesting game. If you're looking for rooting interest this weekend, root for the Jets to beat the Browns. But I want to know what the fan base out there is rooting for. Do you want to see this team tank and lose, go 1-16? Or do you think there's more value in a winning culture and starting to see some of these young guys contribute to victories on Sunday instead of just seeing the flashes in 20-point losses like we've seen pretty much all season long? Parker, what's your take on this?
So I think Paul brought up the best point. If you're a fan of the team, which we both are, you don't ever root for your team to lose. So I'm not openly rooting for the Titans to lose, but having that number 1 overall pick, or even if you have a top 5 pick, I feel like you could trade that and maybe get another first-round pick or even a second-round pick. So that would be best case scenario, but we don't openly root for the Titans to lose.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where you have to kind of compartmentalize it. Of those 3 hours on Sunday, I think you got to be rooting for your team to win. It is a sad existence during football season if you're rooting for your team to lose. I had somebody tell me a couple of weeks ago that the wins in football come in the fall, not in the spring. And yes, the draft pick is important because you feel like, as a team, you feel like you have your quarterback. Mike Borgonzi said as much on Wednesday that they believe in Cam Ward to be the franchise quarterback for this team. So you're in a position where if you get the number 1 overall pick, you have the ability to send it away for hopefully a king's ransom. Depends on who's offering. But there are going to be a lot of teams that need quarterbacks. And despite the expected quarterbacks maybe not being quite as good this season as you hoped, there's still names up there. Fernando Mendoza has emerged as a possible 1st overall pick. Ty Simpson might be your Heisman favorite right now. He's draft eligible. Dante Moore out of Oregon has been good. Maybe he inserts himself into that conversation. So there are going to be names up there. A quarterback-needy team is going to fall in love. It happens every year. You could say it happened with the Titans and Cam Ward last season when they took him 1st overall. But you look around the league, teams that might be interested in taking a quarterback. You got the Dolphins. You've got the Jets. You've got the Browns. Maybe the Steelers with Aaron Rodgers only on a 1-year deal. They could be interested in a quarterback. The Raiders need one. Geno Smith, we saw last night. He hasn't been good enough for that team. They could be looking for a quarterback. In the NFC, I think the Giants are going to at least give Jackson Dart another year. Right? Like
100%.
Like
He's their guy.
You take him in the first round. He's gotten off
He's
to a
their
strong
guy.
start. They're not going to be looking at a quarterback. The Cowboys could be interested in a quarterback. That one may be a little bit less likely, but it's possible. The Saints definitely need a quarterback. The Cardinals just benched Kyler Murray. They need a quarterback. There's close to a dozen teams that could be looking for a young quarterback. So having that number 1 overall pick is very valuable. It's one of those situations where I think in your mind during that game, you're rooting for the team to show promise and you're rooting for the team to win. But in the back of your mind, it's probably better for this team in the long term to lose. That's kind of where I was last year in the Patriots game, the one that went to overtime here where Drake May made the ridiculous running around for 10 seconds with the clock at 0 and finding Ramondre Stevenson for the touchdown. As soon as that play happened, I was like, all right, well, now you want to lose in overtime. And I think there's a little bit of that of when your team gets in a situation where you can lose to another team that might be in the conversation for the number 1 pick, maybe it's better to see your team make a mistake down the stretch. But I think heading into the games, you do want to see your young quarterback come out and put together a complete game and get a win, because building that winning culture and not being a team that lost its final 12 games of the season, I think is important for the mental psyche of these young players and also the culture in that locker room moving forward, that this team isn't going to lose, 30 out of 34 games over 2 seasons.
And for nothing else, we have something positive to talk about if the Titans win. We don't have to come in here and talk about the same old things all the time.
We've gotten one Victory Monday on this show, and it was kind of bittersweet because
we didn't feel like it.
We spent 1 hour talking about, it's great. They made the plays down the stretch to win, but it's not sustainable to win that way.
We spent a fair amount of time ripping the Titans too. I say about half the show.
We've seen that the last 4 weeks, that the way the Titans played in that Cardinals game, that is not sustainable to actually win football games. And, we had fans on both sides saying we were being too negative. Some said we were being too positive. This team's not very good. And yes, you want to win football games, but you also look at this and say, this is a year when you feel like you have your franchise quarterback and history can repeat itself. Look back at the 2016 draft, where you took your quarterback in 2015 and you get the number 1 overall pick. And the Titans' stretch of winning football came almost as a direct result of that trade. That 2016 trade allowed you to take Derrick Henry. It allowed you to take Kevin Byard. It allowed you to take Jack Conklin and Corey Davis. And, I understand Corey Davis he did not live up to his 5th overall pick billing, but he was a big part of those winning teams. The game winner against the Eagles in 2018. He had nearly 1,000 yards in 2020. So that trade set up everything for that team to go to the AFC Championship and be the number 1 overall seed. That's how you get this rebuild going. But winning football games is also important. There's got to be some sort of balance. I think maybe a 2-15 season at least makes you feel a little bit better, right?
Not by much.
I know. I'm mostly kidding.
Maybe 1% better.
Couple of texts on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Again, want to get your thoughts on this. I think there is a split in the fan base of you're 1-8. Do you just want to tank the rest of the way, or do you think it's important to win these games and gain some confidence? 0862 has chosen door number 3 and says, I'm hoping that Amy sells the team. Again, we talk about this all the time. It's not going to happen. 1541 says, I hope they tank, but I'm a Steelers fan. Great. I would assume other teams would want the Titans to tank. Mike in Lebanon says tank for draft picks. Dustin from Hopkinsville says the coaching isn't about winning. They're purposely not implementing these tight ends or just incompetent. I truly think Borgonzi wants that number one pick to trade back. We need youth. We need number one. Trade back, get a number one wide receiver. Mike in Clarksville says the Titans should do this year what they should have done last year if they received the number one pick, trade away the pick, and accumulate more draft picks to build some talent and depth on this team, something we are in desperate need of. And Mike, I'm sure, is similar to a lot of the fans out there who didn't want Cam Ward, of saying you should have traded back. Now you should trade back. But the way I look at it is, are any of these quarterbacks game changers? Like, are these surefire franchise quarterbacks coming out? Whether you're looking at Mendoza or Moore or Simpson or any of the names who could end up in this first overall pick conversation. No, there is no Andrew Luck in this class. There is no Joe Burrow in this class. There's no Trevor Lawrence in this class. So the way I look at it is, you took Cam Ward. You didn't know when the next time you're going to get a chance to take a guy that you believe is your franchise quarterback. And now you hope that you're in a position to recoup those draft picks next year if you can get the number one overall pick. 615-737-1025. I have an interesting thought. And this kind of goes against my philosophy for Cam Ward that I've had since the beginning. But I wonder if this is going through the minds of the higher ups in the front office and in the coaching staff for the Titans. We'll get to it coming up next. Again, we want your thoughts. 615-737-1025. We've hit the bye week. The Titans are 1-8. Would you rather the Titans get some wins down the stretch to build some momentum for this culture heading into next year? Or would you rather tank for that number one pick? We'll talk more about it next. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelley, next man up, 1025 The Game. The MTSU Blue Raiders will take on FIU tomorrow at 2 p.m. Catch all of the action on Totally Hits 93.3 with coverage also available on the Totally Hits Nashville app and at totallyhitsnashville.com. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelley alongside you on this Friday morning. Hope you're having a great start to your Friday. Looking forward to the weekend. It is a Titans bye week, so we don't have to sit through 3 hours of that on Sunday, which means this might be a good weekend.
It's mercifully here.
Yes.
Mercifully here.
Parker, we've talked about it all week of like, we get to watch great college football all week, and then we somehow find ourselves back on the couch Sunday at noon watching the Titans play. That will not be the case this week. Titans on a bye before returning to action against the Texans next Sunday. I asked the question to all of you out there, and you can get your answers in 615-737-1025. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. What are you rooting for the rest of the season? You got 8 games to go. Should this team win some more games? Easier said than done based on the way they've played. Or do you think that embrace the tank and go 1-16? And I had a thought about what the Titans might do down the stretch. And this goes against my thinking on Cam Ward. I've said since the beginning, since they drafted him, he needs to play. It's a guy who has played a ton of college football. He needs to get adjusted to the NFL game. You got to play him. But with the season pretty much a wash at this point, and your coaching staff is already out the door, you're bringing in a new coach at the end of the year. I wonder if Cam Ward tweaks anything, like little calf strain, little shoulder soreness, something like that, if they just sit him down. Do you think that's where this ends up going for Parker? Or excuse me, Parker. Do you think this is where this ends up going for Cam Ward? Of like, hey, they're going to put him back out there after the bye week, but they're going to treat him with kitty gloves the rest of the way and basically say, you know what? He's played whatever it is, 11, 12, 13 games in his rookie season, and let's put Brandon Allen out there and just mail this one in the rest of the way.
Well, you know the saying, it's different. There's a difference between being hurt and being injured. So if Cam Ward is fighting through some little nicks and bruises here and there, I don't think the Titans are going to sit him. But if it's something that could progressively lead to an injury, then I think that's when we'll see him sit. I think as long as he is able to play, I think he's going to be out there.
See, I think every week we go on, the threshold for an injury is going to get lower, right? Like, yes, let's say he tweaks something against the Texans and he's okay. Like, he's okay. He can play. It's not super serious. I don't know if you sit him down in week 11 or 12, but let's look ahead to the Saints game in like week 17. And it's like, let's say you're 1-14 at that point, and the Saints are 1-14, and it's the toilet bowl. Loser is, in the driver's seat for the number 1 pick. And Cam Ward maybe takes a couple extra hits in the game the week before against the Chiefs. I wouldn't hate it if you just say, you know what, Brandon Allen, ball's yours. Cam's played 15 games. Let's just put him in bubble wrap and get him ready for next year.
Well, knowing the type of competitor Cam Ward is,
I don't know if he'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I think this is going to be up to him, and I don't think he's going to want to sit.
Well, and the order would come from Borgonzi and Brinker, right? Like, this isn't a Mike McCoy decision. Mike McCoy doesn't have those big picture decision-making abilities right now. That is not in his job description right now. The call would come from the Titans front office if they wanted to sit him down. I don't know if they're going to do it, but I think with every week that goes on, the level of injury needed to end Cam Ward's season gets lower. Like, obviously, any like long-term injury would end his season, but I think you get into December, and if there's something that's like, hey, he's going to be fighting through stuff for the next couple of weeks, I think they sit him down and say, Brandon Allen, go get us that number 1 overall pick. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Let's get to your thoughts on what the Titans should do the rest of the season. Again, it's not like they have much of a choice here. The team's not very good. They're not going to reel off a ton of wins, but what are you rooting for? Jay from Laverne says, why would we want wins? We have way too many holes to fill and need picks, especially since we have Borgonzi, and he already proved his 3 draft picks turned out great. I agree. I think that if you want to get to those levels that Borgonzi and Brinker were talking about of 30 total picks and 12 in the top 100, and you're not willing to trade a player like Jeffrey Simmons, the only way to get that level of picks is to trade out of a high pick in this year's draft. So long-term, obviously the tank is best for the team, but you also have to look at, you've got a lot of young players that you really need to take big leaps and be part of the core moving forward. And it's hard to develop guys when the team is as bad as it is right now. Let's go to our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Jack is on the line wanting to chime in. Jack, thanks for calling. What you got for us?
Yeah, they might as well tank. They couldn't win this year if they tried. They can sit Cam Newton down for the rest of his career. He's not all that. And ain't all this what we're hearing? Wait. Players are young. We had good draft picks. Ain't that what we heard last year? And the Titans haven't been good for years. So why do y'all think they're going to get so much better overnight?
Thanks for the call, Jack. I didn't say they're going to get so much better overnight. I believe he meant Cam Ward, not Cam Newton. It's been 9 games of Cam Ward. Like, again, we're not going to say that he is a bust at this point in his career. There are lots of stories of quarterbacks who have struggled as rookies and gone on to have very good careers. Let's go to Jim on our phone lines next. Jim, thanks for calling. What you got?
How are we going to win without a defense? Why not let Ward play? You think our defense could actually stop anybody so your offense could win?
Well, I'm not saying you bench Ward to win. I'm saying you bench Ward to lose.
But but we're going to lose regardless of whether you bench him.
Right. I mean, no, that I agree. I don't think this team's winning more than a game or two more, but I think you have a lower chance of winning football games with Brandon Allen as your quarterback than you do with Cam Ward.
I think it's pretty even because the O-line's not going to hold up for either one of them. And don't you want to see something from Ward?
No,
let him work with the rookies. Let him blend in and get some kind of rhythm going with his guys.
No, I agree. I don't think you bench him now. I'm saying if you get to December and he has some sort of small injury, bumps and bruises, maybe that's when you pull the plug on the rookie season and just say, hey, go get ready for next year. But yeah, you still want to see development.
That's what I want to see him show, what kind of a leader he is with a few bumps and bruises. I mean, we've always got guys with bumps and bruises that quit on us. So how about having our new guys play with the bumps and bruises to prove to everybody that this is who we are. Doesn't matter who the coach is right now. Let's make sure we show the fan base who we are. We're playing.
Well, thanks for the call, Jim. I think it's a good point, and I'm not advocating for Cam Ward to sit at any point this year.
I'm just Cam Newton.
Yeah, Cam.
Our new guy, Cam Newton, baby.
Devin and Dixon said, Cam who? Bro just went back to 2010.
When did the Titans get Cam Newton?
I don't know.
Are we breaking that news on the air?
He was out there for a while. I'm back. Was that what he yelled?
Versus the Cardinals.
Versus the Cardinals.
Panthers, yeah.
Mike from Clarksville on the text line says something else that needs to happen as well is we need to get rid of Brinker. That has been a common theme this week.
I think everybody is in agreement on that one.
And honestly, it is funny. The Borgonzi press conference on Wednesday has made everybody hate Brinker that much more because it's like all we hear from Brinker and whenever he comes out, you're like, man, that guy, he doesn't sound competent. And then Borgonzi comes out and has maybe the best press conference we've heard from anyone in the Titans organization in half a decade. And everybody's like, why is this the guy who doesn't have the full reign in this front office? It's ridiculous.
I don't know how the rest of the Mike Borgonzi era is going to go, but after that press conference, I agree with Paul. He's the best football guy in the building right now and should be spearheading the next head coaching search. I mean, I loved how honest he was. And I know that's really the first time he's got to be up there by himself, but he was so candid. It was very refreshing because the Titans really they treat everything like a government secret. So it was nice to hear some honesty.
I really enjoyed hearing from Borgonzi on Wednesday all by himself. And I think it did just highlight that he is the best guy the Titans have right now. They need to let him make the decisions. 3280 says Femi sucks. Stop bragging about the rookies. Again, I really, really hate, and this is like an overarching issue. I hate the ex-player sucks and just leaving it at that when they've played less than 10 games in their NFL career.
Well, why does he suck? I don't know. He just sucks.
Like saying Cam sucks, Femi sucks, whoever sucks. It's like they have not played enough games to make that judgment yet. Guys develop. What you see in game 3 of their NFL career isn't always what you see when they get to year 4 of their NFL career. You don't draft these guys to come in and be good in September of their rookie season. You draft them to come in and get you to January in their second contract. That is what you draft these guys for. Let's stop saying that guys who have played less than 10 games, less than 20 games in their NFL career suck.
And Femi hasn't even played the edge position for a calendar year.
Right.
So
you can say that, hey, Femi hasn't looked like a guy that you take with a second round pick on the edge so far. And that's fair to say.
And that would be very fair.
That is fair to say that he has not lived up to the expectations that you expect, that you hope for when you take a guy at that position at that spot in the draft. That is a fair thing to say. But to say he sucks is way premature because he does have traits and he could easily turn into a good player for this team. He's probably not going to play the rest of the year. There's a chance he comes back towards the end, but let's not say these guys straight up suck, because I've heard that a lot about Cam. You see that on Twitter all the time. Cam Ward sucks. Cam Ward's trash. Like, we don't know that yet. Has he underwhelmed? Yes. He has been underwhelming for the first overall pick. But there is players are not what you see immediately off the bat.
Jake, I consider us Middle Tennessee's therapy session because we come at this from, it's really just like, don't overreact. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. Just call it how you see it.
I know.
Just watch the games and just call it how you see it.
I know that doesn't play in sports talk radio. Like everybody, there's black and white. That's what you're supposed to do. He sucks or he's great. That's all there is.
You're 10 or you're trash.
I would love to just insert a little bit of nuance into the conversation that, hey, Cam Ward has not looked good enough so far, but he can get better. That's the great thing.
There's no rules against getting better.
That's the great thing about rookies is usually they end up getting better. Some of them don't, but usually players get better from their rookie season. And you hope to see that with these draft picks. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll get to more of your phones on the other side. Titans in a bye week. We're taking a 30,000-foot approach to the rest of the season. Do you want to see them lose out and go 1-16 and put themselves in a position to get the number 1 overall pick? Or do you think it's important to get these guys, the young guys, some wins to build their confidence heading into next year? We'll continue the conversation coming up next. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelley, next man up, 102.5 The Game. This may be the perfect song for White Girl Friday.
Perfect.
White Chicks Friday. The Terry Crews scene in White Chicks with this is
That's exactly what I thought
one of the best in cinema history.
That is exactly what I thought of.
Jake Lyman, Parker Kelley, next man up, 102.5 The Game. DVD with Willie Donick, Derek Mason, and Adam Vingen will be broadcasting live at the all-new Circa Sportsbook Kentucky in the Mint Gaming Hall this Monday prior to the Monday Night Football game. Monday night's matchup is the Eagles against the Packers. Let's go back to our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Keegan has called in. Keegan, thanks for calling. What you got for us?
All right, guys. Just to hit on a couple things y'all been talking about. I agree. The Terry Crews scene, absolutely fantastic. No denying that. Going on from there, you're talking about should the Titans tank or should they, compete this year? I think, in all honesty, people will say tank is let's go ahead and just lose every game, but you don't have to lose every game to get the first pick. It just kind of, as long as you end up with that number one pick, I don't think anyone cares what we do. We win a game, we win 2 games, great. Win 3 games on the year, fantastic. But as long as we end up where we should be in the draft position, that's kind of all that matters at the end of the day. However we get there is however we get there. And then I just want to hit on Brinker just a little bit. I think, especially after hearing Borgonzi talking, like you are saying, how competent he was, I think a little bit of it is more, I think about maybe Brinker's just so much of a mouthpiece for Amy that he has to go out there and speak how Amy wants him to speak, kind of gives them a little rundown, a little script possibly. And that just kind of makes him sound like a fool. Kind of takes away maybe some of his confidence that he might have that he don't get to show us. If he's the mouthpiece for Amy, then, wouldn't it make sense that he's just saying what Amy says? And she's kind of a fool, so wouldn't it make sense he sounds like a fool? I don't know. I just want to throw those things out there, just see what y'all got to say.
It's a fair point, Keegan, that, Chad Brinker goes out there and says that he's speaking for the owner, and maybe doing that handcuffs him a little bit. I think you look more at the decisions that he's made, and that shows you that there's been some incompetence that's gone on. And again, it's by comparison. When Mike Borgonzi goes out there and gives a real honest, open press conference, and, there were some topics that he said he wasn't going to delve into, but I feel like he gave Titans fans at least some sort of message of, hey, we understand how horrible this has been. We're doing everything we can to make it better. And I don't know if that's been the message from Chad Brinker. It's kind of just been, hey, we are where we are at this point in the season. On the other point of you can win a couple of games and still get the first overall pick, that is a good point. Last year, even into December, it looked almost impossible that the Titans were going to get the number 1 overall pick. I remember after that disastrous Bengals game at Nissan Stadium, that was like it set the record for game with most penalties and most turnovers. And it was a disaster. Will Levis got benched again. I was talking with TD about how, man, I really don't know who is going to be the quarterback next year, because the Titans aren't going to be in position to pick first overall. And I didn't think that they were going to go spend big in free agency to get Sam Darnold or something like that. So we were going through all these options, and then guess what? Drew Lock wins a game with the Giants, and Joe Milton wins a game as quarterback of the Patriots, and boom, you're picking first overall. So it's so hard to project what it's going to take to be the first overall pick. Like, yeah, maybe it takes the Titans losing out. Maybe 1 win is all you can afford and still get the number 1 pick if the Jets and Saints both lose out. But there's also a chance both those teams get some fluky wins. Maybe you get a win here or there, and maybe 3-14 is good enough to get the number 1 pick again.
Yeah, so this team won 3 games last year and still had the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the rest of the schedule, you're going to be hard pressed to find 2 more wins. And honestly, you don't even have to try to tank. If you're the worst team in the league,
right,
it's going to play out that way.
No.
And you are going to lose without even trying. Like, that's so stupid. Nobody's going to intentionally try to tank.
No,
if you call yourself a competitor.
The people in that room are not trying to tank. Now, the front office may be saying, hey, let's put ourselves in a position where we are the worst team in football, and it's going to be tough for us to win games the rest of the year to set ourselves up. But the coaches, the players, you've got 31 other teams watching too. Whether you're a coach and trying to get your next job, because most of those guys won't be around next year, or if you're a player, We talked about it yesterday with TD that you've got 9 guys on this Titans team who you feel confident will be around in 2 or 3 years. The other 44 on that team, those guys are all playing for jobs elsewhere. So no one's trying to tank, but you're right. The Titans, not even intentionally trying to lose, probably are going to lose a lot of football games. I mean, you got Texans, Seahawks, Jaguars all at home coming up. You haven't won a home game in over a year. And those teams maybe aren't Super Bowl contenders, but they're better than you. At the Browns, as bad as the Browns are, they got Myles Garrett. You don't have Myles Garrett.
And they still have won 2 games this year.
They still have found
even
a way
without
to
the
win
quarterback situation. The defense is not terrible.
And again, Browns and Jets this weekend. That's a big one to keep your eye on if you're on draft.
One of
order
those
watch.
teams has to win.
One of them,
or they'll tie,
they
and that'll
tie.
still be a better result.
A tie
so.
might actually help the Titans more.
Yeah.
And then at the 49ers, I don't see them winning that game.
Not a shot.
Chiefs, of course.
Not a shot.
The Saints, the Toilet Bowl on December 28th. That might be the game that you have to look at and say, you win, you get the number 1 pick. You lose, you don't. Or sorry, flip that. You lose, you get the number 1 pick. You win, you don't. But
tickets on sale for $17.
But right, like God, the stadium was actually more full on Sunday than I thought it would be.
Yeah, that's probably the most Chargers fans I've ever seen in one place.
But as the weather gets worse, that stadium's going to keep getting emptier and emptier.
100%. Will you be in attendance for the Toilet Bowl? Do you know?
I will not. We have a game that day. Vandy Women's Bet. We play Stonehill in our final non-conference
game. There we go.
So I will be paying attention from over at Memorial Gym. But I do want to make the point of, yes, the number 1 pick is the most valuable, clearly. And that gives you the opportunity to hold that pick ransom and say, Jets, Browns, Saints, whoever it is who wants to come up and get a quarterback, you guys bid against each other. We'll take the best offer. But even if the Titans win a game or 2 more, they're still going to be picking the top 5. Like I would be hard pressed to see the Titans not picking somewhere between 1 and 5 this year. Because if you're not picking in the top 5, that means you probably won 3 more games?
Yeah.
I think 3-14 would be
4
more than enough to get you into the top 5.
4 wins might get you that 4 or 5, but again, I don't see that happening. So here's what I thought of with the Colts trading for Sauce Gardner and the Jets doing all that they did, acquiring 5 first-round picks over the next 2 seasons.
Yeah.
If the Titans were, and we all think it's going to happen, a top 1, 2, 3 pick, you trade that back and get 2 picks out of that. I seriously think there's got to be a way that the Titans acquire more capital in order to catch the Jets. I don't think you're going to catch what the Jets did because you're not trading Jeffrey Simmons. And besides that, I don't know any other players on your team that would go for super high picks.
Yeah.
But trading that first round pick seems more and more likely given what the Jets have done.
The one thing that you are hoping for as well, if you're a Titans fan, is more of these quarterbacks who are draft eligible to show promise, right? Like you want every single quarterback who could come out in the draft this year, whether that's the 3 that I've mentioned, who right now are being mocked at the top of the draft, Mendoza, Simpson, Moore, the guys that we talked about before, Lenore Sellers, Garrett Nussmeier. You want those guys to finish as strong as possible and give as much reason for teams to fall in love, because the more quarterbacks that are there, the better chance you have to get a King's ransom. Look at 2 years ago. The Giants offered a lot to move up to 3 to get Drake May. So if you're in position where there is a quarterback there that teams want, you're going to be fine in getting a good value to trade back. But right now, we just don't know how many quarterbacks are being viewed as top 5 picks. That's the big question. The rest of the
year. Fernando Mendoza, Ty Simpson, and Dante Moore are the early big board top 3.
But that changes so much. We won't really know until probably February or March what the quarterback landscape looks like. But that's what you gotta be rooting for, is the more quarterbacks that are being talked about in that conversation, the more teams that are going to be available to you to come up, whether you're picking first, second, third, or wherever.
And if Cam was coming out the same time that all 3 of those guys did, I still think he'd be in the conversation.
I think Cam would be right in the mix for the first overall pick this year too.
It just gives me, I like that part that the Titans got their guy earlier. Now they can focus on
getting
other positions of need.
Yeah, lots of holes, and the best way to fill them, trading down. If you can go get an edge, a wide receiver, and a cornerback all in the top 35 picks, that makes your team a whole lot better heading into 2026. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We're going to transition over to college football coming up next. Big game in Lubbock, Texas tomorrow. BYU, Texas Tech in the Big 12. Game day is there, and it could have a huge impact on Vanderbilt and their college football playoff hopes. We'll also preview Vandy and Auburn in the final hour of the show. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelley with you on this Friday. Next man up, 1025 The Game. The Commodores will take on Auburn tomorrow afternoon. Pregame begins at 1:30 on 94.9 The Fan with kickoff at 3 o'clock. Vanderbilt football brought to you by Gary Force Acura, Jimmy Kelly Steakhouse, and Smoky Mountain Tops. We will preview Vanderbilt and Auburn coming up at the top of the hour. But did want to mention that tomorrow, Lubbock, Texas, biggest game of the week, top 10 matchup between undefeated BYU and the Texas Tech Red Raiders. This is a game that is going to have huge impacts on the entire college football playoff field because right now you kind of know most of the conferences and how it's going to end up, at least on how many teams are going to get in. With the Big Ten, there's 3. I don't see anybody else really sneaking in there. Is there anybody else, Parker, in the Big Ten who could even have a shot at it?
The Big Ten?
Yeah.
USC?
Yeah,
that would be a chaos
right.
scenario,
I guess
though.
that's true. Yeah, USC, but they're a 2-loss team, so
They would have to win out, but they have an opportunity because they play at Oregon in a couple of weeks.
right. So yeah, you win that game, then you put yourself in conversation. But almost certainly going to be exactly 3 teams out of the Big Ten coming to the college football playoff with Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon. The ACC after last week feels pretty much certain to be a 1-bid league. The like you mentioned with USC, the chaos scenario would be Georgia Tech beats Georgia at the end of the year and then loses the ACC championship game, which I guess in that scenario, it'd be an 11-1 Georgia Tech team with a win over Georgia. You can't punish them for losing in the ACC championship game. So maybe you get a 2-bid ACC, but you feel good about 1 out of the ACC. You're going to get the American champ. That's 5. And the Big 12 is the big question mark, along with Notre Dame. And all of this is to say, we're going to find out how many teams the SEC gets in. That is the big question right now, is you've got 6 of the top 12 ranked right now are in the SEC, with Texas and Oklahoma currently being outside of the bracket because of the auto bids. But if you're an SEC team like Vanderbilt, who is in the conversation but currently outside the bubble looking in, you need the Big 12 to be a 1-bid league, and you're rooting for Notre Dame to lose 1 more game. That is the easiest chance for more SEC teams to get in. And this game tomorrow is massive because BYU running the table, going 13-0 and winning the Big 12 championship, that is the easiest way to have a 1-bid Big 12. If Texas Tech wins tomorrow, which I think they're a pretty big favorite.
They are close to, I believe, a 10-point favorite at home.
At home against an undefeated BYU team. So if they win this game, then you've got a 1-loss BYU, a 1-loss Texas Tech.
10.5.
10.5. That is, they always know, I guess. Cincinnati has only 1 loss, correct?
Cincinnati has 1 conference loss.
1
2
conference
losses
loss, correct,
total.
yes. So looking at the Big 12, you've got 5-1 Cincinnati, but yes, they're 7-2. So Utah also is ranked 13th in the country, but they're a 2-loss team. BYU and Texas Tech, if you're a Vandy fan, you're an SEC fan of maybe Texas or Oklahoma or some of these other teams on the outside looking in, Missouri still has an outside shot at the playoff. You are rooting for the Big 12 to just get 1 bid, and the easiest way to do that is BYU beating Texas Tech tomorrow. That is a massive game for the SEC's playoff hopes. I think you're guaranteed to get 4 if you're the SEC. Right now, those 4 teams would be Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia, and Ole Miss. Lots of games left to be played. Ole Miss has a pretty easy schedule the rest of the way. I think you feel good about them being 11-1 at the end of the season. Georgia still has to play Texas. Texas A&M still has to play Texas. And Alabama still has to play Oklahoma. So those are all huge games in the SEC. But in terms of the number of bids available to the Southeastern Conference, tomorrow's game is massive because a 1-bid Big 12 is maybe the difference between a 10-2 Vanderbilt getting in and a 10-2 Vanderbilt being the first team out.
Yeah, that's the best case scenario. But if I don't see a world in which Vanderbilt wins out, and with the resume they would have, they get left out of the playoff. But you need BYU to win this game tomorrow. Honestly, if BYU wins out and they beat Texas Tech tomorrow, there's a good chance that they could get matched up with either a Utah or a Cincinnati. And it would be hard for me to imagine a 2-loss Utah that's left out of their conference championship game would get included in the playoff. Now, there's a chance, but highly unlikely. With that said, I believe that if Texas Tech was to lose this game tomorrow, it probably would be Utah playing in the Big 12 championship versus BYU. BYU were to win that game, 3-loss Utah not getting in. Big 12's a 1-bid league.
Right. That's an interesting scenario there too of what if BYU runs the table 12-0, but then you get a rematch of the Holy War in the conference championship and Utah wins. You can't leave out a 12-1 BYU. So that is SEC fans, keep your eye on the Big 12 because that could have a huge impact on whether this team gets 4 bids, 5 bids, and then the only way they could get 6 is if Notre Dame was to lose another game. I don't, Navy's 7-1. I don't know if I see it this weekend.
Pitt's coming up in a couple
Pitt
weeks.
next weekend.
That's probably their toughest remaining game.
That is the spot that if you're looking for Notre Dame to slip up, they were in a tight one with a bad Boston College team last week. So it's not impossible for them to slip up. Pitt is a top 25 team. They're playing at Acrisure Stadium, Heinz Field, in Pittsburgh next weekend. That's the one that if Notre Dame is going to slip up, I think that's the one that you look for. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Big weekend of college football coming up. You've got Georgia on the road at Mississippi State. That one could be a trap game. Mentioned BYU and Texas Tech. That is an 11 a.m. kick on ABC right after College Game Day in Lubbock. Texas A&M and Missouri, top 25 matchup. Can A&M stay undefeated? Top 20 matchup, Oregon and Iowa. And you got Vanderbilt welcoming Auburn to West End this weekend. Vanderbilt trying to keep their college football playoff hopes alive. We'll preview that game coming up next. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelley with you. Hour number 3 coming up. You're on Next Man Up, 102.5 The Game. Final hour on this Friday. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelley, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Talking college football here to start off the final hour. We will give our Monday headlines coming up at the bottom of the hour at 11:30. No Titans game this weekend, so we might have to be a little bit more creative with it. But Vanderbilt does play Auburn, 3 o'clock kick tomorrow at First Bank Stadium, 1:30 pregame on 94.9 The Fan. Hope you'll tune in. Kevin Ingram will be down with the Vanderbilt men's basketball team in Orlando, so I'll be filling in doing pregame, postgame, and sideline. So should be a good one out there. This is the one that you look at for Vanderbilt, and it makes you a little nervous inside because you no longer have that cushion of we can lose another game and still have a chance at the college football playoff. Another loss and you are out. And Auburn is a super talented team. There's no denying that. Like, there are future NFL first-round picks on this team. You look at Cam Coleman. I mean, he's one of the most talented wide receivers in the entire country. Keldrick Falk on the edge is a big, imposing force.
He'll be a first rounder.
Yes,
he's a day one guy.
He is a day one guy. And we saw last week, this Vandy offensive line that has been a big part of their success this season struggled against some really talented pass rushers for Texas. So Vandy's going to have to bring their A game tomorrow against an Auburn team that has not lived up to expectations, but they fired the head coach and likely are going to be locked in this week for their first game under DJ Durkin. Vanderbilt, I don't worry about Kentucky that much. Like, I'm glad Connor's not here to hear me say that, but Kentucky coming off a bye week for Vanderbilt, I think they're going to be locked in knowing that, hey, we win this game, we go have 60 minutes to get ourselves into the playoffs against Tennessee. And, that maybe that's not how it ends up. You could get left out at 10-2. It's possible. But I think for Vanderbilt, you're controlling what you can control. And if you come out of that bye week, you're not going to be flat with Kentucky coming to town. I feel pretty good about that. This is the game, though, that it's not going to be a cakewalk for sure. Auburn, the record doesn't show the amount of talent on this team. They are going with Ashton Daniels at quarterback, the Stanford transfer, he's more of a runner than he is a thrower, but.
And I like Jackson Arnold.
Yes. Yeah. It's not going to change the offense all that much for Auburn having Daniels out there, but it's not like he's lit the world on fire at either of his stops. 21 touchdowns, 21 interceptions in his career. Hasn't been all that efficient, completing right around 60% of his passes. I think Vandy has the advantage for sure at quarterback tomorrow. But it's a scary one. I said it the other day, Parker. It's the 6-foot knee knocker putt for par that you've got to knock down.
Just tap it.
Right. Just tap it and go home, ball. The hole is your home. Go home, ball. That's what Vandy needs to do tomorrow. This is a game that you're favored in by a touchdown. You should go out there and win, but it's not going to be given to you, and Auburn's going to show up ready to play. You win this game, I feel pretty good about Vandy heading to Neyland Stadium at 9-2 to end the season with a chance to beat their rival and put themselves right in the mix for a college football playoff spot.
I have two thoughts on that. The first being, I asked Clark Lee earlier this week about, because there are really two options when you have all this noise coming into your program that's really never had it. You can crumble, or you can bottle that up, kind of like Ohio State did in the playoff last year, and just rattle off some wins. I asked Clark Lee about that, and I'm like, well, how do you balance that? And he said, well, the typical coach speak answer, they're not worried about the noise. They don't focus on the noise, even though guys have social media, they have their phones and everything, but they have a process that they do every day, and they have a routine. And that routine and that process gives them a sense of peace so that they can go out and execute on Saturday, which right. I thought was a very profound answer. The second thing, if they are 9-2 and they go to Knoxville last game of the year and they win, Danny White and Josh Heupel are going to be in the crosshairs of this fan base so that it might be next level, like right under Shiano Sunday, because Vols fans are going to lose their minds.
Yeah.
If they lose to Vandy in Knoxville and Vandy goes to the playoff and you don't.
Yeah, it's a very good point. And I think that's exemplified by the texts we get from Vols fans Bradford texted in on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Vandy will not beat Tennessee at home. It's possible in another dimension, but not this one. That's the sentiment from these Vols fans. And I get it. You have been the power in the state, but to look at the way these two teams have played and think that Vandy doesn't have a shot is crazy. And I think you're exactly right that Tennessee fans would not be worried about that game. Even if Vandy's 9-2 playing for a playoff spot, I think Tennessee fans go in expecting to win because of the logo that they see on the other side. And if Vandy won, I agree. I think it would be pure chaos over there on Rocky Top.
Oh, we'd have so much to talk about on Monday. It would be bad. It would be real bad.
And last year it was the opposite scenario where Tennessee came into Nashville at 9-2, and it was Vandy trying to play spoiler. And Vandy fans wanted nothing more than to be the team to end Tennessee's playoff chances. And you go up 14-0, and then Tennessee, was able to figure it out and win the football game and go to the playoff. We could have the opposite scenario out there in Knoxville of Vandy going in, Tennessee trying to play spoiler for Vanderbilt's playoff chances. Who would have thought we'd ever say those words?
Exactly. And the Vols fans, the expectation. I mean, we have a small minority of this fan base that is calling for Josh Heupel's job.
I know.
And it drives me crazy because the expectation going in when you realize Joey Aguilar is going to be your starting quarterback was around 8-4. So if Tennessee loses that game and they're 8-4, that lives up to the preseason expectation you had in the first place. But because you lost to Vanderbilt, all hell is going to break loose.
Yeah, no, it is funny. And I remember having the conversation in the summer or in the spring when Nico Imaliava left. And it's like, Tennessee fans right now are saying that Josh Heupel's going to get some grace, but let's see how they react in December if they go 7-5 or 8-4. And here we are. It's a vocal minority. It is not the majority of Vols fans, but there are some who are calling for Josh Heupel's job. I kind of feel similarly, looking over at my home state of Virginia. Usually Virginia Tech is the power in that state, right? Like Virginia Tech's won, I want to say 21 out of 22 games against UVA. But this year, there's a chance that UVA is playing for a spot in the college football playoff at the end of the year, and Virginia Tech's trying to play spoiler. I don't know if that's something that I ever thought I would say. So I understand how the Vols fans feel out there of the program that typically had not been able to stand up in the rivalry. Now their aspirations are higher than you heading into rivalry weekend, which for Vols fans, I think is not a comfortable place to be, especially if Vandy does go in there and get a win coming up on Thanksgiving weekend. 8388, that's Devin and Dixon says, boy, if Vandy beats UT and Neyland, Vols fans will burn Knoxville down.
It's going to happen. If that happens, I'm not saying Vandy. Right now, I'd probably pick Tennessee to win the game, but
I think Tennessee will be favored.
It's not going to be easy.
Wes from Hermitage says, why are Vols fans acting like they do not lose at home? So we just got, they just do not lose at home. So we just got to act like last Saturday didn't happen. Come on now, man. Hashtag anchor down. So no, Tennessee has not been unbeatable at home this year. And you do wonder, I would guess Neyland still is going to be packed, of course, but is the energy and the intensity going to be there in a game where you're on the other side than you typically are? Usually at the end of the season, Vols fans feel like they're playing for more than Vanderbilt when it's clearly on the other side. I wonder if Vandy fans end up bringing some energy out there to Neyland, and if the Vols fans maybe just have a little apathy for a team that's going to go play in the Pop-Tarts Bowl or something like that.
Pop-Tarts Bowl is not a bad consolation prize.
Hey, it's not. That's a fun one.
It's my second favorite bowl game, right behind the Rose Bowl.
I do love the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Caleb says, haven't gotten there yet. Once again, Vandy people putting the cart before the horse. Can't assume in the SEC. And I just said that. Like Auburn is not going to be an easy game.
We're
tomorrow.
Playing hypotheticals right now. That's all we're doing.
Right. This is what we're looking forward to, is that game in Neyland. Vandy, in order to earn that opportunity to go to Neyland with a chance to make the playoffs, you got to win tomorrow. And Auburn likely going to get some interim coach bump after Hugh Freeze was let go on Sunday. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll continue to preview that game tomorrow. And also, I I do want to mention our friend on the text line from Memphis has alerted me that I have missed a game with huge college football playoff implications.
No, we haven't. We're going to get to it.
We're going to get to it coming up next. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelley, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelley with you on this Friday. Talking college football here late in the show. We'll get to our Monday headlines coming up in the next segment, but did want to get back to our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Josh is on the line. Wanted to talk about the Titans bye week. Josh, thanks for calling in. Go ahead.
Jake, thanks for taking the call. I know we've been talking college football, but let's get back to our regularly scheduled programming, the Titans. We're on the bye week this week. It's been a rough up and down roller coaster. Just want to know, how do we come away with a win on the bye week this week? And is it potentially a win that we can't lose this weekend? Thanks. I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Josh. Yeah, we said it earlier that for the first time all season, the Titans are guaranteed not to lose. And, the bye week, it might be a tough game for the Titans, but they will not get to 1-9 this week. It'll take another 7 days. Thanks for the call, Josh. The Bills this weekend, where are they playing, Parker?
Who's this?
The Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo
playing at
Bills.
the Dolphins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go Bills. Hope they get a win, Josh. 6-2, taking on the Miami Dolphins, who have struggled, to say the least, so far this season. Back to Vanderbilt and Auburn. Big game tomorrow. Vandy can get to 8-2. And again, the bye week coming up next, which I think is really important to give yourself a chance to reset. This is like can I say it's an elevated version of that stretch of games with Georgia State and Utah State earlier this year, of like games you should win, but I worry about having them back to back, because sometimes you get through that first test and it's like, oh, okay, we're good. And then you lose. I think the bye week being in between is really important. So that was this is a big game tomorrow, maybe the biggest game in Vanderbilt history. We say it over and over about every week. It becomes a bigger game for Vanderbilt, and tomorrow taking on Auburn at 3:00 over at First Bank Stadium. Again, new quarterback Ashton Daniels making his second start for Auburn this year. And then DJ Durkin taking over as the interim head coach after Hugh Freeze was let go on Sunday. So a lot of unknown with this Auburn team, and Vanderbilt's going to have to come ready to play. I did want to mention, and I appreciate 6641 texting in. He says, Jake, I just got to say that I know good and well we're not talking about college football playoff implications without bringing up this absolutely massive Memphis-Tulane game coming up this weekend. Want to talk about a ball game? Oh boy, that's going to be a ball game. Two head coaches who are being rumored for big jobs coming up this year in Ryan Silverfield and John Summerall. This is a game with a whole lot of implications on the playoff, because it's almost guaranteed the American champion is going to get the group of 5 bid. Not completely guaranteed. They could cannibalize themselves and maybe another conference, I guess, would it be San Diego State out of the Mountain West who could possibly make a run?
Yeah, they have a pretty low percentage chance. James Madison from the Sun Belt is also up there.
Right.
And then the rest, it's just American athletics. So Memphis, Tulane, South Florida, and North Texas.
Right.
And I guess you could throw Navy in there, but
yeah. So right now you have 6 teams in the American, all with 1 loss, and that will change this week. Again, you've got Tulane and Memphis. It's basically an elimination game for those teams, because in this scenario, you absolutely have to win your conference championship in order to reach the college football playoff. This isn't like the power conference where, oh, well, if you're 10-2 and you miss the conference championship game, you still might get in. Memphis and Tulane are playing for their playoff lives. That is an 8:00 kick tonight. I didn't realize that. It's tonight. So that's some great
8:00.
Great Friday night action. I love it, with playoff implications out there at the Liberty Bowl. Tulane and Memphis tonight on ESPN. That's a big one.
Same time as Northwestern USC. Maybe a split screen situation.
Right. Might be a dual screen, but you can't multi-view it anymore on YouTube TV.
Oh, you're going to have to bring out 2 TVs.
You're going to have to bring out that actual second screen.
And I just saw something on Twitter that YouTube TV and ESPN are still very far apart in negotiations.
Yeah, I don't see it ending all that soon,
for the consumer.
Quick side bar here. I think Disney is trying to milk this as long as possible to get as many people to go over to their new bundle and the Hulu, and they want this to go on as long as possible.
I don't care whose fault it is. I just want football.
Right.
That's all I care
Can we
about.
just do this for the American people?
No, because money's involved, Jake.
We got, the 2 standoffs going on right now. The government shut down the YouTube and Disney standoff.
Which one's going to come back first?
Which one's worse? No one can tell. I'm 100% joking, of course. But who's going to come back first is maybe the better question. Elsewhere across the American, there's not a whole lot going on this week. East Carolina plays a 1-7 Charlotte team, so likely the Pirates will get to 4-1 and keep their very low chances at winning the American alive. And then Navy against Notre Dame. Navy is 7-1. They are 28-point underdogs against Notre Dame, though, which is funny to see. It's like, 7-1 Navy, 6-2 Notre Dame, 4 touchdown underdogs.
The way they got beat by North Texas last week, it's very fair.
Yeah, and the game tonight is the big one across the American, and there are plenty more coming up throughout the rest of the years. Again, 6 teams in the American have 1 loss the two teams that get into the championship game will likely be playing for a college football playoff spot.
And here's how Navy has to round out their season: at Notre Dame, take on South Florida at home, at Memphis before the Army game. So I mean, like they're going to be out of it after this weekend. So
they got off to a really strong start. Props to Navy, but
same situation as last year.
That schedule is brutal.
Yeah, same situation as last year.
6641 talking about Tulane and Memphis says winning coach gets the Auburn job, losing coach gets the Arkansas job. That would be funny if if both those schools were like, hey, we're willing to give in on this deal. You guys go play it out and we'll take winner or loser. Flip a coin, basically.
Decided on the field.
Arkansas probably wouldn't agree to that deal. But I think another quick tangent here before we get to our Monday headlines coming up at 11:30. I am thinking there might be a shoe dropping soon in the college football coaching carousel.
Really?
It's been rumored for a while. I don't know if it's going to happen today, but I think the dam finally breaks and James Franklin is a Hokie at some point soon. Like the smoke is getting too high for me not to think the fire is
coming. Are we dropping bombs on this show today?
This is not sourced information whatsoever.
This is just a bomb.
This is just a gut feel. Go ahead.
It's a secondary. Like I did not hear this from somebody directly, but it's from a secondary. Lincoln Riley. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. I did see rumors about that.
That's all I'm going to say. Lincoln Riley.
Would not shock me. No, again, no sourced information. Yes, I did go to Virginia Tech, but I don't have connections in that coaching search committee. But just following the people that I do, there's been a lot of smoke the last couple of days. I think we're going to get James Franklin in maroon and orange coming up in the next couple days, hopefully. Maybe today. Maybe it happens today, and they James Franklin can go hop on game day tomorrow and do a hit about his going to bring a national championship to Blacksburg.
By the way, Patrick Mahomes is the guest picker tomorrow.
I know. I saw that. I guess they have a bye week this week. That's if you're going to Texas Tech, that's the first guy you call.
That
right?
lines up perfect.
I know,
even though it wasn't planned that way.
Right. It all just worked out. The universe had the plan for Patrick Mahomes to be the guest picker. Great weekend of college football coming up. The big game, of course, top 10, BYU, Texas Tech. Game day is in Lubbock for the first time in 17 years. But it has implications across all of college football, which I don't know if you could have said that about a Texas Tech BYU game ever. So this is going to be fun tomorrow. And then, of course, Tulane and Memphis tonight. We're not forgetting about that group of 5 battle. Winner stays alive in the American battle. And, of course, tomorrow afternoon, Vanderbilt and Auburn from First Bank Stadium. Commodores a chance to get to 8-2. It would be just their third 8-win season in 40 years. They had the 2 9-win seasons under James Franklin. And then the last 8-win season, I believe, was in 1982 for Vanderbilt. So Commodores can get to 8 wins tomorrow if they can take down Auburn. Again, that's a 3:00 kick, 1:30 pregame over on 94.9 The Fan. It is 11:30 on a Friday. So we are going to give our Monday headlines coming up next. Going to be a little bit different because the Titans don't play. Usually we try and predict something that's going to happen in the Titans game. I'm very frustrated. I wasn't here last Friday to try and predict the Chimdike return touchdown.
Man,
when it
that was
actually
all
happened.
you. That was all. We didn't even do Monday headlines last week. I was disappointed.
I've picked it twice. I've picked twice this year. My Monday headline has been Chimdike return touchdown. And then, of course, the 1 week I'm gone, he actually does it. So,
well, it could happen again.
Not this weekend.
Not this weekend, but
we will give our Monday headlines.
There's still 8 weeks.
We're going to do one NFL one. We're going to do one college football one, and we'll do that coming up next. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelley, next man up here on 102.5 The Game. This might be your best work yet.
I can't go a show without playing Big Time Rush.
This might be their best song. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelley, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Join the Chase and Big Joe show today, coming up at noon, from noon to 3 at Reunion Township at 550 Old Legardo Road in Mount Juliet, a brand new luxury apartment community nestled perfectly between Mount Juliet and Lebanon. Resort-style living that you deserve. For more information, go to reuniontownship.com. Time for our Monday headlines. Looking ahead to what we'll be talking about after the weekend. We do this every Friday at 11:30. You can get yours in at 615-737-1025. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. So no Titans game today, this weekend. So we are not going to get into the Titans, but we're going to do one NFL headline. We're going to do one college football headline. Parker, you want to lead us off? What you got in the NFL?
Sure, I can lead us off. So I think I'm leaning towards the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're at home versus the New England Patriots. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers end the Patriots win streak.
Okay, I like it. I was considering going to that game, but I'm going to go with Ravens and Vikings this weekend in Minnesota. Lamar Jackson is back. The Ravens are trying to dig themselves back into the division race. They're only 2 games back right now. I say the Ravens go up to the land of 10,000 lakes and win by 2 touchdowns.
That AFC North race is going to be so interesting between them and the Steelers. Because I do think Baltimore is going to win it. I really do.
I think
a healthy
so too.
Baltimore.
It's just it's hard to look at the way with Lamar Jackson back and hopefully fully healthy. They're going to track him down. And that schedule, it's so much easier than it has been for the Ravens. Like they got very unlucky this year that, first of all, you had all the injuries off the bat, but you played a gauntlet through the first month and a half. I mean, they had to play the Bills, the Lions, the Chiefs, the Rams, all within the first 6 weeks of the season. And you were missing Lamar Jackson for that Rams game. Now you come back, you had the Dolphins last week. You've got Vikings, Browns, Jets, Bengals your next 4 weeks. I think they will be 7-5 heading into that first game with the Steelers in week 14.
Back above 500.
And they will beat the Steelers at M&T Bank Stadium to take the lead in the division after that one. So I'm going with the Ravens. And, with the trade that the Titans made earlier this week with Draymond Jones going there, Titans fans, as much as it hurts, you don't like rooting for the Ratbirds, it'll help you. It moves that pick up from a 5th-round pick to a 4th-round pick. So I would say, as much as it may be painful, root for the Ravens. So I'm going with the Ravens winning by 2 touchdowns up in Minnesota this weekend. College football, where are you looking, Parker?
I'm going to be bold. I'm going to go real bold here. All right.
Okay.
So Texas Tech and BYU, that's the game that we were talking about earlier. I'm fascinated. I'm going to watch every snap of this game. I'm very excited. Give me Texas Tech to not only win, but cover.
Okay, so you got a double-digit win.
I like Texas Tech by 14 in this game.
All right, I like it. Should I go? I've got two picks that both of them would be bold. I'm not going to do both of them. Do I go kind of bold or do I go super bold, Parker?
Why don't you just give both?
Okay, but if I give both, that's
give
like
one.
Insane.
Go bold with me. Come on.
Penn State beats Indiana.
Oh, okay.
That
was really bold.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was debating. I was looking at Missouri and A&M, but I like A&M. I don't know what it is. Like Indiana
in Happy Valley.
It's in Happy Valley. I know that Penn State, it's not like they've gotten the interim bump since Franklin left. They've not been good at all. I believe they've lost 5 in a row. Is that right? Like dating back to
ever since the Oregon game.
So they're due. That's still a really talented team, right? Like they haven't lost all of their talented players. And I know Drew Aller's not playing either. I think they are due for a win. I think Indiana's due for a slip-up game. Penn State beats Indiana on Saturday. That is my Monday headline. We'll be talking about it on Monday. That Indiana still will be plenty safe in the playoff discussion, I think. 11-1, even with a loss to a bad Penn State team, I don't think knocks them out. But I do think that they dropped that one. And I will probably be wrong, but you said go bold. I'm going with the super bold one. I'm going with Indiana dropping one to Penn State.
I looked at this game, and for some reason, you're not the first person I've heard say this. Chris Sanders also believes that Penn State's going to beat Indiana.
Did he pick them as his silly underdog pick this week?
Yeah, I just can't bring myself to
see. I was leaning before I asked you the question. I was leaning to go with Missouri beating A&M because that's more realistic, right? Missouri is a top 25 team. The game's in Columbia, and Texas A&M is undefeated. They're due for a loss too, but I'm going big. I'm going to say Penn State beats Indiana. That's an 11 a.m. kick on Saturday. We'll see what happens this weekend.
See, I was leaning towards Iowa and Oregon because I'm not going to bet a penny on that game.
It's a really interesting one.
And it is going to be sideways rain, lots of wind, and it's in Iowa City nonetheless. So that screams to me Iowa football. It's a 6.5 point spread. I do think Oregon's going to win, but Iowa covers.
All right.
It's going to be nasty. It's going to be real nasty.
That's one of those games that if you're a football sicko and you love watching Iowa football play, and it could end like 7-6 or something like that.
And the reason I don't feel so confident, but Oregon can run the football with the best of the Big Ten. So, and Iowa's not going to throw the football. They haven't for years, decades. So
centuries.
Yeah, centuries since they've been a football program. But they run the football well. Of course, the defense is going to be there. They play their style of game. I think Oregon can match it, but it is going to be disgusting.
Going to be a fun weekend of college football. Those are our Monday headlines. I am going with the Ravens blowing out the Vikings in Minnesota on Sunday and Penn State pulling off the upset against Indiana. Parker is going with the Buccaneers, ending the Patriots' winning streak in the NFL and picking Texas Tech to not only win, but cover against BYU and win by double-digit points.
See, I thought I was going to be the most bold, but it turns out yours.
I like to go big, and I finally hit one of the big ones a couple weeks ago.
You're swinging for the fences.
I picked Texas Tech and Miami both to lose a couple weeks ago, so we'll see. Maybe I can. That
was a good week for you. That was a good week.
Swing hard in case you hit it, like back when pitchers had to hit in the lineup in the NL. Swing hard in case you hit it. That's what I'm doing. 6641 on the text line says Tuesday headline, college football playoff ranking day. Memphis moves up to number 23 in the college football poll. And he says ahead of Tennessee and Vandy. He's picking Vandy to lose to Auburn. So a dual pick there from our friend from Memphis saying that the Tigers beat the Green Wave tonight and Vandy falls to Auburn tomorrow.
If it were up to me, Memphis would already be ahead of Tennessee, but I don't understand how Tennessee's still ranked, to be honest.
Yeah.
Their best wins Mississippi State in overtime.
I guess it's that Georgia game I think is going to hold some weight for Tennessee of not that you can take moral victories, but they probably should have won that game. And that obviously is a huge quality victory. But I think that's probably why they're still ranked in the top 25, but
no Group of 5 team for the first time ever. Like for the first initial rankings, I think there's been at least 2 Group of 5s ranked. There's none.
Well, and it is funny. We have all these conversations about, well, if this happens, then this team could go in and all of this chaos. But look back at the previous initial college football playoff rankings.
It doesn't look the same.
It never ends up working out the way you think it does. Like Tennessee in 2022 was the number 1 team in the initial playoff rankings and missed the playoff. Of course, Hendon Hooker's injury had a lot to do with that. Back to the initial college football playoff rankings back in 2014. Parker, I'm sure you remember who the number 1 team in the country was.
Mississippi State.
It was Mississippi State, led by Dakota Prescott. After
Florida State was in there too, right?
They made it. That Florida State made it that year. That the first year was it was Alabama number 1. Florida State Oregon was 2. Florida State was 3, and Ohio State was 4, led by Cardell Jones, who ended up winning. The Virginia Tech Hokies, they were the 1 in 13-1 or whatever the record was for Ohio State. Beat them in Columbus at the beginning of the year.
I remember that game. I remember it.
Will in Clarksville says the bye beats Tennessee. I will say that Tennessee probably will not be ranked next week. because I think the winner of Memphis and Tulane probably does slide into the rankings. And, Tennessee not playing, it doesn't have a chance to improve its rankings. So I would guess Tennessee probably does fall out of the rankings next Tuesday. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. If you have any Monday headlines, what's going to happen over the weekend, send those in to our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. This Sunday, the NFL game of the week is the Patriots and the Buccaneers at noon on 102.5 The Game. The NFL game of the week is presented by Circa Sportsbook Kentucky and Macero in 12 South. We will wrap up the show on the other side. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelley, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Wrapping up the show for the week here on Next Man Up 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelley alongside you. Tomorrow's college football game of the week is LSU and Alabama at 6:30 on 102.5 The Game. Presented by Twin Peaks Restaurants and Circus Sportsbook Kentucky. Coverage is also available on the Game Nashville app and at thegamenashville.com. That's an interesting one tomorrow, too. First time we've seen LSU post Brian Kelly. So that will Alabama looking to avoid a slip up. They narrowly escaped against South Carolina the last time we saw them. So that'll be an interesting one tomorrow. Again, 6:30 p.m. You can listen here on 102.5 The Game after the Preds play the Stars tomorrow afternoon over at Bridgestone Arena. Big weekend in Nashville, despite the Titans being off. Mentioned Vanderbilt and Auburn tomorrow. Massive, massive game. Commodores were able to beat the Tigers 17-7 last year on the Plains, and it's an Auburn team that, after a strong start to the year, winning their first 3 games, including on the road against Baylor, they have faltered in SEC play, only winning 1 game in the conference against Arkansas. And last week were beat 10-3 by Kentucky, and that was the Wildcats' first SEC win of the year. So it's a team that Vanderbilt on paper should beat, but they play the games on grass. So you got to go out there and you've got to bring your A game. Commodores looking to head into the bye week 8-2. And we haven't mentioned yet, Nashville SC playing in a do or die game 3 tomorrow against Inter Miami down there in South Florida. This is a game that if Nashville can get through, you start to wonder if they can make a run here, right? Like Miami, they weren't the top in the standings, but they have the best player in the MLS in Lionel Messi. And he has been just a thorn in Nashville's side over the last couple of weeks, because this is the 4th time Nashville and Miami have played in the last month. He scored 3 at Geodis Park to end the regular season. I want to say he scored 2 or 3 in the first game of the playoffs. Nashville was able to bounce back, win 2-1 at home last week. Tomorrow, 7 p.m., Nashville and Miami face off for a spot in the next round in the playoffs. So something to keep an eye on too. While you're, while you're looking at the all the great college football games we've got going on, make sure you're keeping an eye on the boys in gold who are out there trying to keep their their season alive, taking on Miami.
Yeah, no, that should be fun. I feel like is it considered a rivalry now?
It might be.
Miami and
I
Nashville?
mean, considering was it the League's Cup a couple years ago here that went to the shootout? Like, I think it would be. Right now, Nashville, Miami tied at 1. The winner will take on either Cincinnati or Columbus, who they also play tomorrow. That is a 5 p.m. kickoff in the conference semifinals. So big game. I know college football is going to reign supreme around here, but the Vandy game should be wrapped up by then, and a chance to support Nashville SC taking on Miami tomorrow night. It is the Titans bye week, and I think we're all pretty pleased about that. I mean, I
no complaints on my end.
I am just so excited to have a Sunday where I can kind of just sit on the couch and watch the games and not have to be completely locked in, right? Like, having to do a show on Mondays, you've got to be watching almost every play and make sure you write down some notes on how the team plays and the big plays in the game. I'm excited to have an NFL Sunday where don't have to watch the Titans lose. It's going to be nice.
Yeah, and you get to. There are not as many intriguing matchups, but there are some.
Yeah, I mean, that Bucs Patriots game is going to be fun.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm going to probably be watching that while the Bears are playing, because I'm in a halfway Bears household.
Right, that's true. So, it's a house divided.
Yeah, so that's probably how my Sunday will look.
Yeah, I might full on red zone it. Like, I usually like to watch full games, but on this day when the Titans aren't playing, I might go full red zone, maybe get some food.
The world is your oyster,
right?
Or the day is your oyster.
Yeah, I've got the day off. I do have to get ready because Monday, Vandy women's basketball back in action, and we'll have a conversation about this on Monday too. But taking on Furman, home opener, 6:00 tip off. So if you're around on Monday, you want to go watch some good basketball, want to go see Michaela Blake's play. Again, 6:00 tip over there at Memorial Gym. But that'll be my Sunday. I think I'll be getting my prep ready for the game, and and sitting there watching some Red Zone. It's going to be beautiful.
Will you be tuned into is it Berlin? The Berlin game? Yeah, between the Falcons and the Colts.
Right. We're back in Europe this week.
Yeah, and there's another game next week in Madrid.
Yes. Yeah. So no more London games, right? They did all of those and the Dublin game in a row at the beginning of the year. So we've got 2 more international games. That's a fun one because the Falcons may be the most inconsistent team in the entire league.
And it drives me crazy because the roster is so good.
It's so funny. It's like they get beat 30-0 by the Panthers and get blown out by the Dolphins, but then beat the Bills somehow. So you don't really know what to expect with this Falcons team. The Colts have been one of the best teams in football, but coming off a loss against the Steelers and you're heading overseas. Yes, I would say I will be up and going at 8:30 for that one.
I might catch bits and pieces, not the whole game, but definitely bits and pieces. And then what about 325? There's not like a marquee matchup for.
Yeah,
I mean Rams Niners.
The primetime games are good this week.
Yeah. Rams and Niners. Lions Commanders would have more shine if Jaden Daniels was playing, but.
Right, and I guess that's you can't predict injuries when you're planning these schedules.
Steelers Chargers won't be a bad Sunday night matchup. The Monday night game, Eagles and Packers will be really good.
Only 2 or 3 late games. Sorry, 49ers Rams will be good. That'll be an interesting one to watch.
I think Tom Brady and Kevin Burkhardt have the call for that one.
Yeah, Lions Commanders, that one is disappointing because it's a rematch of what was a great playoff game last year. Commanders pulling off the upset against the number 1 seeded Lions, and now hate to say it, I love you, Marcus Mariota, but that doesn't move the needle for me seeing him face the Lions. And then, Eagles, Packers Monday night. I'm sure we'll talk about that game coming up on Monday. Going to be a fun weekend of sports. Again, we mentioned you got college football all day tomorrow, Nashville SC, full day NFL. And we got a great college basketball game
Exactly.
tonight.
I was going to say Kansas and North Carolina at 6. I believe that's on ESPN.
Blue Bloods going to be fun to watch. Matthew from Jolton on the text line, getting to a couple more of your texts before we get out of here. He says, here's one we will have to come back to at the end of the college football season. Matthew from Jolton is a huge Michigan fan. He says Michigan will win out and beat Ohio State to make the playoff.
No.
Agree with that. 6641 says, fellas, I greatly appreciate y'all indulging me about my Memphis talk. I'm from Camden, Tennessee, right on the river of West Tennessee. It's almost exactly halfway between Nashville and Memphis.
Brendan Lewis for Heisman.
Right. We appreciate you reminding us about Memphis because it can get easy to be in our little Middle Tennessee bubble here and stick with the schools that are here and the teams that are here. So we appreciate you keeping us honest and letting us get out to the Memphis talk on the other side. Next week on the show, going to be back to normal. No more travel for me. We will get back to our normal schedule. So we'll have Nick Frazier on Tuesday. Corey Curtis, after missing this week, will be back on Wednesday. TD on Thursday. And then again, next Friday, make sure you tune into that one because that should be a fun show. We'll do our football talk in the first 2 hours of the show. Then Max Herz is going to join us for the final hour from 11 to 12. And that will lead us right in to Preds pregame coverage as they're off in Stockholm, Sweden, a week from today.
Have you ever been to Sweden before?
I have not been to Sweden.
It's on the bucket list. I don't have a lot of bucket place lists outside of the U.S., but Sweden's one of them.
Yeah, I think that whole Norway, Finland, like that. I'm blanking on what.
Italy and Greece are also.
Italy and Greece, of course.
That's pretty much it, though.
That'll be fun. It's a 1:00 puck drop next Friday between the Penguins and Predators in Sweden, and then next Sunday 8 a.m. puck drop. So Max will join us next Friday for the end of the show. That'll wrap things up for us. Hope everybody out there has a great weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday. Chase and Big Joe are coming up next here on 102.5 The Game.